Hi everyone. Since it's a new season, a new start, I've decided now I'm actually going to try to get this off the ground. This is a review of various Planeswalker cards from various sets. Obviously, this will be a frequently updating thing because there are a lot of Planeswalkers to cover, and on top of that, there's new ones coming out with the new Theros set coming out. Um, Now, I suppose a lot of you are wondering, well, what the hell is a Planeswalker? What are you talking about, you crazy lady? Planeswalkers, by the way, this is a blank template card to help me explain what's going on, are a special card in a game known as Magic the Gathering. They are basically an ally to the player that is not a creature, which creatures normally are the ones who attack and defend. It is not an enchantment, which covers the whole field and does weird things, or covers a creature and does weird things. It is not, or covers a land and does weird things. It's not land, which gives you mana. It's not an instant or sorcery spell, which are one-time things you can either only do on your turn for sorceries, or do at any time you wish to muck up the game. And they are not artifacts, which are just objects you can either put on things or do weird things. It's kind of hard to explain, so I might do like a little tutorial as well. But this is just the intro to the whole idea of a Magic the Gathering card. Basically, Planeswalkers are very unique in the game. Now, in the game, you have to pay mana to do things. I'm doing this for the people who don't play so they can get an idea. And if they decide this is boring, then they don't have to watch this. Mana is the cost to play the card outright. Up here would be the mana cost. If there's a symbol, that means you need that particular color of mana. Black, red, white, blue, or green, depending. And a number means, just pay whatever you got. And a Planeswalker always has a hit bar or loyalty counters. These can go up and down by various ways. With creatures, you can attack a Planeswalker, or with spells, you can attack a Planeswalker and it hurts them, bringing the loyalty counter down, which is why I'm calling it a life bar, basically. But you can knock it up and down, too. It has a healing ability. You see there are 3 numbers here. Right now they're all just 0, but it's a good indicator of where everything is. Now, normally the top one, by the way, this is usually red, which means mythic, because Planeswalkers are usually mythic or at least rare, depending on what set they're from. And it shows what set they're actually from. There's a symbol for each set. I will show it on a actual Planeswalker card when I get into the actual reviews. But basically these numbers are loyalty adjusters. And yes, obviously there'd be a picture here. This is usually a positive ability, which means it's like add 1 to the loyalty counter, or add 2 to the loyalty counter, or add whatever to the loyalty counter. The loyalty counter goes up, meaning your Planeswalker has more hits that they can take. And you can do this the minute you play it too, which is pretty powerful and recommended, because you want to get as much on it as possible. Now, this is usually a minor ability that defines the card more than anything else, aside from the nuke, which I'll get into in a minute. Oh, sorry, knocked my new microphone down. For example, a blue Planeswalker might have draw a card. A red Planeswalker might have do 1 damage to someone. A green Planeswalker may have produce a token. A white Planeswalker might have heal yourself. A black Planeswalker might have suck 2 life out of someone and gain 2 life. And those are actual abilities I've seen on those colors. And you will see those Planeswalkers eventually. The second ability is a medium ability. It's usually a small minus ability, like -1, -2, something like that, where it does something else. And usually it's something a little more helpful than the first one, or a little less helpful, depending on how you play. The middle ability can get you out of a lot of tight spots, and sometimes the middle ability is actually better than the big nuclear option, in my opinion. Now we're getting into the nuclear option. This is the ultimate, as people call it. I call it the nuke because sometimes it can nuke things. This is usually, you have to get the Planeswalker up to a certain number of loyalty points that they're nowhere near. Usually when you get a Planeswalker out, you can maybe do the minus or definitely do the plus. They are nowhere near the nuke. Because they can be like -7, -10. I've seen -14. They can cost a lot. And usually if you use them right when you're able to use them, you'll kill the Planeswalker in one shot. But it's usually worth it because it'll do amazing things. For the most part. Now I can point out that the middle ability can sometimes be a 0 ability, meaning nothing gets lost and nothing gets gained. I'm going to point out, this is not necessarily a bad thing. I've seen 0 abilities that have been lifesavers in a game. I will get into them a little later. So that's the anatomy of a Planeswalker card, basically. And it's a good intro to this because if you don't know what's what, you might get a little confused. I should also point out there is a new ruling with the Legendary rule, and Planeswalkers apply to this. In the original Legendary rule, if 2 of the same Legendary were on the field, even under your own control, poof, they're gone. They're both gone. Even if the names were... No, the names have to be the same for Legendaries. You can actually have 2 Legendaries with different names, even if it's technically the same character. Mikius is an example of this, and I still sit there wondering why. I'll be perfectly honest. But with Planeswalkers, they can have multiple different names, but they're the same freaking Planeswalker no matter what you do. So if you have... I'll make up a name so I don't spoil anything. If you had Thorog the Killer and Thorog the Barbarian, you can't have them both on the field at the same time, even though they do completely different things. They are the same Planeswalker. You can't really do that. Now, apparently you can have up to 2 of the same Planeswalker on the field, or 2 of the same Legendary on the field, but if a third one comes out, you can make one of the 2 go poofy. Sorry, that's just my computer being a little weird, but it's a normal thing. But aside from that, I say do a house rule with that if you're not a professional player. Otherwise, learn that Legendary rule a little better than I know, because I think I got it right, but it's so freaking confusing, I'm not even sure. And I don't play professionally. That's a disclaimer for this, by the way. I don't play professionally. I don't do tournaments. I'm not that competitive. That's bad for me. So, I'm going to talk about how I feel about the cards, how I see their abilities, and how you can use them, combine them with things, that sort of thing. I don't do competitive. If I can find someone who does competitive to do, the competitive reviews for the cards after I do the actual review, that would be kinda awesome, because then you can get a better idea of how good the card is. And some of these cards are good, some of them are not, in my opinion, but again, not a competitive player. I play casually. I will tell you how I feel about going against them and using them myself. And the way I play might be different from the way you play, so take that into account too. And I do encourage you to talk about, how you feel about certain cards in the comments, because that's kind of the point of this, is to start a discussion about something fun. Until then, I will talk to you guys later. Bye!